how do you define a sick building? I have this written down and I'm like, I needed a point and there was no good segue back to it.
Oh, sure.
What in the world is a sick building? And like, and I'm pretty sure Jacob's like, oh, I know. And I'm like, well, I'm the dumb one here. I do not. So Daniel, you and Jacob go off and explain to me what the heck a sick building is.
I mean, in simple terms, it's one that's not performing the way it ought to. So, you go back to the fundamentals that there's really three ways a building's going to fail. It wasn't designed right, it wasn't built right, or it's not being maintained right. And so, our particular niche within this and the property condition assessment, we've got other partners, but we have expertise in the building envelope. And, and going back to the technology side of it, I mean, for a long time that was very manual intensive. I mean, that was whether that be the testing, which some of the testing, spray testing, etc. A lot of it still has to be done through spray racks and some of these, or air barriers through blower doors, etc. But we do have a drone with thermographic capability now, and that's been a game changer. I mean, for us to be able to, off some of these large, and I mean, we've got a lot of old buildings around here, a lot of plants that are no longer in existence, and to be able to run that and essentially go through a flyover, kind of a higher level one, and then using that with some of our other consultants to pinpoint where the problem areas are, and then get into better attention of, okay, well, is that seam on the parapet now, is it getting frog lipping or whatnot, where the seam starts to come, you really start to see the failure points, and then you get into the life cycle estimating of, all right, do we want to advise, or does the owner potentially want to consider a repair, or is this thing already at its life cycle end, if you will? And it's helping them budget, because the opposite of all this is crisis management, which is too often the case. And if within a certain time period that something's going to fail, it's a lot easier to budget for it and get it done, particularly nowadays when materials and labor are so hard to get.
Yeah, so really going to sick buildings is basically what it sounds like. It's a building that has not been maintained great and now is actually making the end users, the tenants, sick because you're sitting in it. So if you think about black mold, so if water penetration gets in and then mold grows within the building, but this is where you go to work every single day, or this is your classroom and you're a kid and you come here, you're breathing in black mold. That's going to make you sick. That's going to in turn, be problems down the road. You can see all the lawsuits on TV of like, hey, you didn't know it, but you're breathing asbestos for 4 years of your life when you went to school. But so that's what sick building is. And actually one of the big things is Legionnaire's disease. So as water leaks and stays within a building, it becomes Legionnaire's disease, which actually, as soon as it's airborne, can start causing big issues for people that are actually tenants within the building. I know right now that the VA is even having, like, we're going through and scanning VA facilities for just domestic water lines so they can track where all the domestic water lines are, how they're being maintained, and make sure that there's no leaks there, which is a huge ask to scan a whole building just for the hot and cold water lines. So there's a whole industry of, hey, sick building syndrome, and then how do we mitigate all that?